week I got stuck doing a lot of stupid shit. We forgot to do this stupid shit. So, there you go.
You forgot all of you.
I did not forget all of them. I forgot all of me. All of me loves all of you. Anyway, so today we're doing, it must be the ganja, Mr. Marijuana. So, marijuana, weed, pot, CBD, all the shit, all the stuff. We're talking about it now, right now.
Remember, Tony is the one who's talking for this period of time this time, not me. I'm going to talk a little bit, but it's not going to be anywhere near as much detail as I had the last episode.
So, should we just jump right in, or what?
I mean, it's up to you, man.
I mean, currently we live in Ohio State, which right now in Ohio State, we're pretty much only at the point where medicinal marijuana is legal. So you kind of have to have like a card to get it. Then even if you have the card and you get the medicinal marijuana, you can actually still be fired from your job if you drop dirty with marijuana.
Ohio does not want to pass the law to be legalized out here, because every time it goes to the ballot every year, a bunch of the stoners out here in Ohio don't get enough to go through.
I don't know, man. Like, I think it's honestly just the parents. Because it can't be the elderly. They miss marijuana. They miss being able to smoke it because, they were back in the, free love, free hugs with clothes off era.
What with LSD?
Listen, we don't pick and choose what the fuck era marijuana was popular. Marijuana was actually popular during that same era as LSD. That's kind of one of the reasons why it's actually illegal, is literally because it just kind of like got swooped up with all the other drugs and basically got thrown into the category of being a narcotic.
Which is ironic, because now they won't get you unless it's like half a pound to a pound of weed. And Tony is trying to himself up.
I hurt my back. So trying to reach my beer.
Pretty much.
Because I can't smoke weed because weed's illegal.
That's why we use CBD. I buy hemp cigarettes thanks to Tony here, who showed and introduced them to me a few weeks ago, and I love them. I take 3 a day, and I feel right as fucking rain.
He's an addict.
I'm not an addict. I don't know what he's talking about.
You're an addict.
That's why you smell your armpit, you sick fuck.
Smells like suave.
Okay. You can swab your way into this podcast.
I've been working all fucking day, and my armpit smells decent. Alright, shut up. So, let's go ahead and start jumping into it, because apparently I'm doing all the fucking talking, and Cindy shut the fuck up, right? The fuck. Globally, marijuana is the most commonly used illicit drug. Classified as a Schedule I controlled substance, marijuana is a mood-altering drug that affects almost every organ in the body. In 2017, 6%, or about 1 in every 16 high school seniors in the United States, reported using marijuana every day. Ooh. The number of 12th graders who think marijuana use is risky has basically went down easily by half in the last 20 years. According to the 2013 National Survey on Drug Use and Health, or the NSDUH, or NSDUH, 19.8 million, or 80.6% of people who use illicit drugs in the U.S. use marijuana in the month before being surveyed. People can smoke marijuana, inhale it through vapor, brew it as a tea, apply it as a balm, or eat it in products such as brownies or chocolate bars. Some people use medicinal marijuana to treat chronic pain, muscle spasticity, anorexia, nausea, and sleep disturbances. Medicinal marijuana medical marijuana refers to either whole marijuana or its ingredients such as cannabidiol, CBD, which forms the base of a limited number of approved medications. Medical marijuana is not subject to governmental standardization, making its ingredients and potency unknown. It is not legal in all states. No shit.
Why it sucks to live in Ohio.
Facts about marijuana. The primary psychoactive ingredient in marijuana is delta-9-tetrahydrocannabinol, THC. Marijuana contains more than 120 compounds, which are likely to have different properties. The effects of recreational marijuana use include lightheadedness, a feeling of relaxation, increased appetite, and reduced blood pressure. Dun, dun, dun. But what is marijuana? Marijuana comes from the dried flowering tops, leaves, stems, and seeds of the cannabis sativa, or hemp plant. Humans have used marijuana for hundreds of years for fiber, seed oils, medical treatment, and recreationally. There is some evidence that marijuana, or some of its compounds, such as CBD, May be useful for relieving severe pain, inflammation, nausea, and chronic conditions, because chronic heals chronic. However, CBD is just one of at least 120 substances found in marijuana.
Yeah, I know. I did the research.
I know, I'm trying to avoid the marijuana for the CBD shit.
Yeah.
People have many health concerns about the use of the drug. Another primary component of marijuana is delta-9 tetrahydrocannabinol, THC. THC is the key mind-altering substance in marijuana. It acts on specific brain receptors, causing possible mood changes, depression, suicidal thinking, memory issues, and disruption to normal learning abilities. It may also produce dependency, meaning they think it's addictive.
And it's not.
I mean, it can be. Anything can be addictive. Shopping for clothes can be addictive.
Yeah, but that's the addicting part of you. It's not like
You're right. It's based on the person, not the product.
Yeah. I've met a lot of people who are like, I need this or I'm not going to be able to function today. And then all you want to do is argue and say, wrong.
Right. The compound is also known to stimulate appetite, informally known as the munchies, and induce a relaxed state, as well as other effects on sense of smell, hearing, and eyesight. THC can also cause fatigue, and some people THC may produce depression.
I was about to try to reach like that long thing at the end of an ad really fast.
I was starting to. Like, I kind of lost my sensibilities. It was just like, let's just do infomercial shit.
Like, this is all you need to do.
Right? And I really am. I'm trying to avoid everything.
Yeah.
So, the effects. The effects of the 120 plus cannabinoids present in cannabis are mostly unknown. But the most potent psychoactive agent identified to date is THC. When a person smokes cannabis, THC is quickly absorbed into the bloodstream, reaching the brain within minutes. The body absorbs THC more slowly when it is eaten, delaying the onset of action for up to 2 hours and prolonging the duration of the effect. THC and other cannabinoids in marijuana are similar to cannabinoids produced by the body.
Hey, buddy.
Oh, fuck, I think I broke me. These natural cannabinoids act like neurotransmitters that send chemical messages between nerve cells, or neurons, throughout the nervous system. These neurotransmitters affect brain areas involved in memory, thinking, concentration, movement, coordination, sensory, and time perception, as well as pleasure. Pleasure. The receptors that respond to these cannabinoids also react to THC, which can alter and disrupt normal brain function. Some studies have shown that THC affects areas of the brain that control memory creation and attention. It also disrupts other parts of the brain, adversely affecting balance, posture, coordination, and reaction time. This can make it unsafe for a person using marijuana to drive a car, operate heavy machinery, or engage in sports and other potentially dangerous physical activities. It also makes it very fucking difficult to do a goddamn podcast. And pay attention!
My only story of pot and sports was I was playing football with people. I was really stoned and I got tackled and forgot where I was for 5 minutes. All I remember is me getting hit the ground and
man, honestly, I've got way too many I was high stories. Really do.
See what happens.
All right. Back to my talking. Shut up. THC also stimulates specific cannabinoid receptors that increase the release of dopamine, neurotransmitter related to feelings of pleasure. People use marijuana to achieve a feeling of elation, a high, giddiness, and relaxation. Marijuana also produces sensory sensory perception changes. Colors may seem brighter, music more vivid and awesome, and emotions more profound. Some people experience feelings. When people consume cannabis for recreational purposes, they might experience the following effects. Because I like lists. So here's a fucking list. We're supposed to be talking. Shut up.
Just like the
So So here's the list. Number 1, changes in perception due to a slight hallucinogenic effect that can create a distorted illusion of time and space. Number 2, mood changes, leading to euphoria, feelings of energy, or a state of relaxation. Number 3, for those who are actually keeping fucking count, higher heart rate. Number 4, reduction in blood pressure. Number 5, impairment of concentration and memory. Number 5, impairment of concentration and memory. Fuck. Number 6, reduced psychomotor coordination. Number 7, nausea, even though some cannabinoids may help reduce nausea. Number 8, increase in appetite. And number 9, faster breathing. Depending on the length and amount of use, some traces of THC might still be present in a person's urine for several months after they last used it.
Wow. Well, that's interesting.
What?
What?
All right.
Continue.
The risks. The risks. The risk. Below are some examples of findings that suggest or demonstrate some of the negative consequences of consuming cannabis. Whoa. I'll fucking speed through this shit. Sorry, I had to take a drink of beer. God, no, you understand. Number 1, impairment of judgment. A study in the BMJ found that a person is significantly more likely to crash the car if they drive within 3 hours of smoking marijuana. Number 2, reproductive issues. According to the review of animal studies, cannabis use may lead to sexual dysfunction. Number 3, immune response. According to one study, smoking marijuana could eventually suppress the body's immune system, making the user more susceptible to certain types of cancers and infections. Number 4, psychosis. Research carried out on siblings suggests that long-term marijuana use could increase the risk of developing psychosis in young adults. Whatever, Mark.
I don't even know. Speed through it.
5, gum disease risk. One study indicates that smoking cannabis increased the risk of developing gum disease, gingivitis, regardless of whether the user smokes tobacco. Number 7, reduced brain function. Researchers found that regular cannabis users who started before they were 15 years old did not score as well on the brain test as their counterparts who began using cannabis later in life. Number 8, acute memory loss. British studies suggest that smokers of potent cannabis strains, such as skunk, for instance, may have a higher risk of acute memory loss. Number, whatever the fuck this is, change in human DNA. What? A British study found, hang on, we're slowing the fuck down for this shit. A British study found compelling evidence that cannabis smoke damages human DNA in such a way that the user could become more susceptible to developing cancer. Okay. Testicular cancer, a 2015 review and meta-analysis of 3 earlier studies found that frequent or long-term marijuana use may increase the risk of developing testicular cancer, but more evidence is needed to confirm this.
Yeah, I know. Gotta breathe, everybody.
All right. All right. So there's the list of risks that we literally just fucking dive bombed, spun through. We did some shit. We were there. It happened. Slowed down for a second, then I got the balls and we sped ahead.
All right. What's next on that part of your routine?
Addiction. Should we speed through this one or? Ooh, I don't know if I can do that again right off the
Do the
bat.
highlights if you have to.
No, we're gonna just read this through. Oh, sorry, listeners, we are going on a journey today with the glorious and fabulous Tony. Because it's quite pleasurable. Cannabis, like other pain relievers, can lead to dependence and addiction. Over time, the severe, persistent overstimulation of the neurotransmission they can cause brain problem.
My brain hurt. My brain.
That result in a marijuana use disorder or addiction. According to the National Institute on Drug Abuse, NIDA or NADA, people who start using marijuana at a young age, who are heavy users, are more likely to develop a marijuana use disorder than some other users. Cannabis withdrawal. Abrupt withdrawal from cannabis can be uncomfortable, but not life-threatening. Withdrawals begin on the second day after stopping and may persist for up to weeks. Withdrawal symptoms include anxiety, irritability, insomnia, stomach pain, and decreased appetite. Sleep problems can also potentially persist beyond that time frame. The full extent of the long-term health risks of chronic cannabis use is currently unknown. There is no way to determine who will develop severe physical, psychological, or other unwanted reactions. Now, this one, some of you may not remember this shit. Synthetic marijuana. K2. Drugs that do not have legal status do not have FDA approval, or both cannot be guaranteed safe. So-called synthetic marijuana, such as K2 or spice, is not marijuana, although it does contain some of the compounds found in marijuana. Some people may try untested and illegal synthetic cannabinoids in the belief that they are legal. This can be dangerous and possibly fatal. Yeah, that's pretty much all there is about that one. The legality. Cannabis and related products such as CBD. Yeah, I'm gonna skip that one.
Oh yeah, that's what I was gonna say. You said CBD that was permanently wet? No, okay. Give it a second, everybody. I do apologize. But we're gonna go on our first ad break so that we don't over.
I gotta go cool my systems and my balls.
Have you ever wanted to make a podcast? Hi, this is Tony from the All for None podcast, currently under the Nerd Lab Media Productions. And we use something called Anchor. It's great. It's free. There's creation tools that allow you to record and edit all of your podcasts right from your phone or computer. And then Anchor actually distributes your podcast for you, so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and so many other places. And then you can make money from your podcasts. And they don't require any kind of minimum listenership. So you can get as many as you want or as little as you want. And it's everything you need to make a podcast all in one place. Just download the free Anchor app or go to the anchor.fm to get started.
And we're back, everybody.
Yeah, we're back. I don't know why we're back, but we're fucking back. So, I've got a little bit of Q&A, actually, for you. So, question number 1. Are some types of marijuana more dangerous than others? Like, what do you think? Like, you don't have to actually fucking know the answer. I'm going to tell you the fucking answer, because I'm the fucking answer guy. Well, I don't fucking think so. Pleasure. Sloppy with the floppy.
Okay.
So what do you think?
I seriously don't. There are some though. If you do them, I know that they're so strong that you'll probably forget to breathe. That's my only real answer. I'm gonna say I don't think so. All
right.
You tell me.
So here's the answer. In the last 30 years, the potency of marijuana has increased in an attempt to improve the effect. THC concentration, the part of marijuana attributed to some of the stoned effects, has increased from 3 to 4% in the late 1990s, up to over 12% when measured in 2014. Using more potent marijuana will likely result in more potent side effects, but as it stands, there are no strains of marijuana that are more dangerous than any other one. The only time that marijuana becomes dangerous is when it's cut with something else.
Yeah.
Such as cocaine, crack.
That's when it's dangerous.
Meth, that kind of stuff. But THC or marijuana by itself, it's actually not dangerous.
All right, well, that's different.
Yeah.
Well, with that, what's the next question?
Oh, that's the only fucking question. Weed's awesome.
He said Q and A, and then like it's literally just Q and A.
Yeah, I said Q&A, not Q&As.
Well, it
Not
doesn't.
Q's and A's. Listen to the fucking words that are coming out of my mouth.
Nobody understands the words that are coming out of your mouth. Copyrighted fucking infringement. Fuck it.
Isn't he lovable, folks? Not really.
Just tell him to shut up.
So, how does pot affect your body and mind? Marijuana, weed, pot, dope, grass. There's different names for the same quote unquote drug that comes from the cannabis plant. Like I've mentioned before, you can smoke it, vape it, drink it, or eat it. Eat me. Most folks use marijuana for pleasure and recreation. But a growing number of doctors have been prescribing it for specific medical conditions and symptoms. Marijuana has a mind-altering compounds that affect both your brain and body. It can be addictive, and it may be harmful to some people's health. Here's what can happen when you use marijuana. Number 1, you can get high. It's why most people try pot. The most psychoactive ingredient, THC, stimulates the part of your brain that responds to pleasure, like food and sex. That unleashes a chemical called dopamine, which gives you a euphoric, relaxed feeling. If you vape or smoke weed, the THC could get into your bloodstream quickly enough for you to get your high in seconds or minutes. The THC level usually peaks in about 30 minutes, and its effects may wear off in about 1 to 3 hours. I finally got him to laugh, people. You couldn't hold it fucking back. Go ahead, let it out. I'm funny as shit, you know it.
Get back to your fucking point.
If you drink or eat pot, what the fuck? You can drink that shit? It may take many hours for you to fully sober up. You may not always know how potent your recreational marijuana might be. That also goes for the most medical marijuana. So what else does it do? It may affect your mental health. Not everyone's experience with marijuana is pleasant. It often can leave you anxious, afraid, or panicked. Using pot may raise your chances for clinical depression or worsen the symptoms of any mental disorders you already have. Scientists aren't yet sure exactly why. In high doses, it can make you paranoid or lose touch with reality, so you hear or see things that aren't there. Number 2, your thinking could get distorted.
Yay.
Marijuana can cloud your senses and judgment. The effects can differ depending on things like how potent your pot was, how you took it, and how much marijuana you've used in the past. It might heighten your senses. Colors might seem brighter and sounds might seem louder. Once again, it can distort your sense of time. It can, again, hurt your motor skills and make driving more dangerous. It can lower your inhibitions, so you may have risky sex or take other chances. You may get hooked. About 1 in 10 people who use pot will become addicted. That means you can't stop using it, even if it harms your relationships, job, health, or finances. The risk is greater the younger you are when you start marijuana, and the more heavily you use it. For instance, the odds of addiction are about 1 in 6 if you use pot in your teens. it might be as high as 1 in 2 among those who use it every day. You could also grow physically dependent on marijuana. Your body could go into withdrawal, leaving you irritable, restless, unable to sleep, and uninterested in eating. We're basically just kind of going back over what the fuck I already fucking said.
Say it again, Cletus. Sounds like he's about to take a really good shit.
Mothers who smoke pot while pregnant face a higher risk of giving birth to underweight or premature babies. But researchers don't know enough to say if those infants are more likely to grow up to struggle in school, use drugs, or have other problems in life. So all in all, there's not a lot of testing on medical marijuana.
Not yet, no. That's why I think it would be everywhere if it did.
Researchers haven't found any links between smoking weed and cancer in the lungs, head, or the neck. Limited evidence suggests that heavy marijuana use may lead to one type of testicular cancer. We don't have enough information whether cannabis may lead to other cancers, including prostate, cervical, bladder, non-Hodgkin's lymphoma.
Oh.
So, yeah, there's that shit.
What had happened was...
So, now we're going to go into Daddy's favorite goddamn part of the show. How to use marijuana. You can use pot in a variety of ways. Smoking usually offers the best way to feel its effects. As a rolled cigarette or a joint.
Yeah, I figured that.
You can also smoke in small handheld pipes, such as bowls and pipes.
He had to leave that.
Another way to do it is through water pipes, also called a bong.
Bong.
You better fucking disclaim that shit right the fuck now.
Kevin Smith can say.
Really? No. We do not want Kevin Smith to sue us. Kevin Smith, you are awesome. We love you. Please listen to our show. Another way to smoke marijuana is through a cigar that has been hollowed out and refilled with marijuana.
Okay.
Also called, it's my part of the show, you don't say fucking shit. It is called a blunt. Sticky resins drawn from the cannabis plant. Resins are often loaded with much higher amounts of THC than regular marijuana. You can also mix pot into brownies, cookies, candy, tea, and other foods. Eating and drinking the drug delay the high because it has to travel through your digestive system before the THC gets into your bloodstream. So it may take 30 minutes, maybe 2 hours before you feel anything. But edibles give you a high that lasts much longer, sometimes up to 8 hours, than if you just smoked it or vaped it.
It should make you eat your own sofa.
So tell me, what is your favorite way to take marijuana?
Blunt.
Okay. Glad we had this talk. And now I'm going to share my favorite recipe that I will probably never do again. So, you take a pot. You put it on the stove. You let it get nice and toasty and warm. You pour a fucking gallon of milk in the goddamn pot. Then you take your pot and you put pot in your pot. And you let it cook for 5 minutes. Once the milk has begun to boil, then you take it back out, put it in a cup, put it in the refrigerator, let it get cold, and then you drink it. What this does is the THC and the marijuana gets boiled into the milk itself, and you get what's called weed milking.
Sounds very disturbing if you think about it.
I fucking hate you.
Me too.
All right. So, please, for the love of God and me, get on Facebook. Tell me what you think. Tell me what you feel.
Also, weed recipe.
Also, yes, weed recipes. I will not try them, but I will force Timmy to try them. Because he is my test dummy, and I love dummies. So, at this point, we are now going to turn the show over to Timmy, who is going to be talking to you about, what was it again, Timothy?
CBD.
What was it? I don't think they heard you.
CBD.
CBD!
Cannabidiol.
Pleasure.
It's cannabidiol. I don't fucking know how to pronounce it. But hold on 1 fucking second. Alright. So, what is CBD? As I kept trying to say that shit for like 5 times, it's called CBD. It is a lesser known child of the cannabis sativa clans. It's more famous than its sibling, THC. It's the active ingredient in parts that catapult users high with roots in that's Central. Fuck off.
What
My turn! You shut up! You shut up!
the fuck are you doing with the voices, man?
I'm doing what I want. You're over here old time announcing. I will just become class.
Well, continue.
Yes, thank you. Alright. So the plant is believed to have first been used medicinally. I can't keep this up. For rituals around 750 BC.
He's not as good as you know who. Me. I'm talking about me.
Oh my. Quotes. Sorry. Okay, so blah 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 blah. So cannabis containing 0.3% or less of THC is hemp. And hemp is amazing. More than to say. So CBD is advertised as providing relief for the anxiety, depression, post-traumatic stress disorder. It's also marketed to promote sleep. So, it is non-psychoactive, which means you will not hallucinate, and it has melatonin. One of my favorite things about it. And the consumers can reap health benefits from the planet without the high or the midnight pizza munchies. Just as hemp seedlings are sprouting up across the United States, so is the marketing from oils and nasal sprays to lollipops and suppositories. Okay, I've never seen that.
Supposit what now?
You know what a suppository is, correct?
I'm pretty sure that's up your butt.
Yes. So they sell CBD products that you shove up your butt. Wonder if that high gets you a lot faster, just like boofing.
Oh.
Things that make...
Explain what boofing is.
So boofing is if you have broken a needle and you are doing heroin and you still want to use it, you don't want to waste your heroin and look for another needle, the asshole has a point where you have a vein that you can inject and get that heroin in there. And the high is supposed to travel a lot faster from your butthole. That, my friend, is boofing.
Ew.
So does CBD work? It is promising in a lot of different therapeutic avenues because it is relatively safe. So that's somebody. It says McMaster's University Michael G. DeGroot. That was a weird fucking name. But apparently he said he's from Ontario, and he said it's promising in a lot of areas. Last year, the FDA approved Epidiolex, a purified CBD extract, to treat rare seizure disorders in patients 2 years or older. After 3 randomized, double-blind, and placebo-controlled clinical trials, why are we fucking using placebos? So it's with 516 patients. It was taken along with those medications. It helped reduce the seizures. And, well, that's about all I could find on that one. Sorry. So, here's another thing. Does CBD help with anxiety and PTSD? Can I fucking speak for once? Jesus. For students with generalized social anxiety, a 4-minute talk with minimal time to prepare can be debilitating. You have a small experiment in the journal Neuropsychopharmacology, my God, found that CBD seemed to reduce nervousness and cognitive impairment in patients with social anxiety in a simulated public speaking task. You're making me fucking do it now. I started doing the voice. God damn it. But however, to continue that study is a double-blind study. Found healthy volunteers administered CBD had little to no change in their emotional reaction to unpleasant images or words. Compared to the placebo group, if it is a calming drug, it should change their responses to the stimuli. And nobody fucking cares. Nobody fucking cares. Does CBD help with sleep and depression? Up in the wee hours of the night, stuck watching videos of puppies, CBD might help you sleep. Because it, like I said, with the Epidiolex, I can't fucking prop those words. It also helps for epilepsy and drowsiness. So if you really can't sleep, use CBD, melatonin, knock you right on your ass.
Alright.
And that's kind of one of the reasons why I do it, because I have problems sleeping a lot.
I got boo-boo in my hand.
I'm proud of you. That's been there for like a week.
No.
Now the one on your wrist has been there for a week.
No, that's this.
That's what I was talking about.
Yeah. Okay, continue before you were so rudely interrupted.
Like, Jesus Christ. So, it says sleep can be disrupted, and that, can include depression. Rodents seemed to adapt better to stressful conditions on CBD. That's fucking weird.
What happens?
So, let me repeat that. It says sleep can be disrupted for many reasons, including depression. You can't sleep because you're depressed. But rodents, who were clinical trials, seem to adapt better to the stressful conditions on the effects of CBD. So pretty much, see, because they say CBD retroactively, it doesn't have the psychopathy, whatever the word is, that, THC does. They're not going to hallucinate, get all the things that you're high, but you take enough CBD, you're going to get the same feeling as you're high, just not munchies.
Right.
But it is saying is that it's difficult to detect depression in animals. So I guess it's good that in rodents you can actually see. Now, here's my final, so to speak, thing, and I'm going to try to make this quick. Is CBD harmful? So if you take pure CBD, it's pretty safe. But side effects can include diarrhea, sleepiness, fatigue, weakness, rash, decreased appetite, and elevated liver enzymes. Also, the safe amount to consume in a day or at all during pregnancy is still not known. That's fucking weird. But that's roughly all I got for that one. So we're gonna take one more break, or are we done?
No, we're not fucking done.
We're done. I'm just kidding.
How the fuck do you have not shit about? We're gonna come back and Daddy's gonna do CBD. And we're back because Daddy's ready for CBD. Yeah.
Should not have given him that LSD before we started.
I did not take LSD. We have no. So, CBD, also known as cannabidiol.
What I told you.
Cannabidiol. Is that fucking right?
Yeah, it's just very hard to say.
Cannabidiol?
Yeah.
Huh. Cannabidiol is a chemical in the cannabis sativa plant, also known as marijuana or
I've already said
hemp.
I just said ham for a minute.
Over 80 chemicals known as cannabinoids have been identified in the cannabis sativa plant. Did you say that part?
No, that part I didn't.
You didn't say that part?
No.
All right, so Daddy's got some Daddy's got some new shit.
Sounds like a Simpsons character about to like disco stew everything.
While THC is the major active ingredient in marijuana, cannabidiol is also obtained from hemp, which contains only very small amounts of THC. Passage of the 2018 Farm Bill made it legal to sell hemp and hemp products in the U.S. That doesn't mean that all hemp-derived cannabidiol products are legal. Since cannabidiol has been studied as a new drug, it can't be legally included in foods or dietary supplements. Also, cannabidiol can't be included in products marketed with therapeutic claims. Fuck that. Cannabidiol can only be included in cosmetic products and only if it contains less than 0.3% THC. But there are still products labeled as dietary supplements on the market that contain cannabidiol. The amount of cannabidiol contained in these products is not always reported accurately on the product label. Cannabidiol is mostly used for seizure disorder, which is epilepsy. It is also used for anxiety, pain, a muscle disorder called dystonia, Parkinson's disease, Crohn's disease, and many other conditions. But there is no good scientific evidence to support these uses. How does it work? You might ask. Fucking ask.
What am I asking?
How does it work?
How does it work?
Say it louder.
How does it work, sir?
I'm glad you asked. Cannabidiol has effect on the brain. The exact cause for these effects is not clear. Why are you laughing? However, cannabidiol seems to prevent the breakdown of a chemical in the brain that affects pain, mood, and mental function. Are you on?
Yes, actually.
Preventing the breakdown of this chemical and increasing its levels in the blood seems to reduce psychotic symptoms associated with conditions such as schizophrenia. Cannabidiol might also block some of the psychoactive effects of THC. Also, cannabidiol seems to reduce pain and anxiety. What are the uses? One might ask.
I'm waiting. What? Just say it. Don't make me
Ask.
What are the uses?
Thank you for asking. Number one. Seizure disorder. A specific cannabidiol product, such as Epidiolex and from GW Pharmaceuticals, has been shown to reduce seizures in adults and children with various conditions that are linked with seizures. So basically, CBD can actually be given to children and actually help stop seizures. well, maybe not stop, but it definitely helps with them.
Right. It can
This product is a prescription drug for treating seizures caused by Dravet syndrome or Lennox-Gastaut syndrome. I don't know what those are. It has also been shown to reduce seizures in people with tuberous sclerosis complex.
Confusing.
Tuberculosis.
Tuberculosis?
No, that can't. Sturge-Weber syndrome, febrile infection-related epilepsy syndrome, or FIRES, and specific genetic disorders that cause epileptic encephalopathy.
Okay.
I'm not even going to try and retry that word. But it's not approved for treating these other types of seizures. It is possibly effective for multiple sclerosis or MS. But there is insufficient evidence for such things as bipolar disorder, Crohn's disease, diabetes, dystonia, Fragile X syndrome, which is an inherited condition marked by learning disabilities, graft versus host disease, or GVHD, a condition in which a transplant attacks the body, Huntington's disease, an inherited brain disorder that affects movement, emotions, and thinking, insomnia. It can actually possibly help with withdrawals from heroin, morphine, and other opioid drugs. It can help with Parkinson's disease, schizophrenia. It can actually help people quit smoking. It can also help with social anxiety disorder and many, many other conditions. Now, as we all know, with any kind of medical thing, there's always side effects. And one might ask, what are the side effects?
I don't have to ask. I already told you what the side effects were. Like diarrhea and like 15 other things that I already pointed out. He's looking through his list to make sure I'm right. Wait for it. Wait for it. He's still thinking, everybody. Somebody's fuming. Where in the frick? There it is. Let me see if I can remember where it's at now. What is CBD? What are the claims? Other than that crap. Does it work? Where are my side effects? I don't remember where it was, because I had it here. Like, I actually did say it.
Did you?
Is it harmful? So the side effects include diarrhea, sleepiness, fatigue.
So you did. Good for you.
I hate you. I really, really do.
Yeah, well. Anyway. So, we're going to go to another break now that Daddy has tackled and perfected CBD.
Hey.
Tony's Morbid Stories.
And welcome back
Yay!
to Tony's Story Time.
And he says he's got a fucked up one for you guys this time.
Well, they're all going to be pretty fucked up, but and just so you know, Timmy did try to skedaddle on this. He tried to run the fuck away, leaving me stranded in the studio, talking to myself.
Kind of what he likes. He's got an ego that needs to be stricken by himself while he touches his chest.
All right. So today's story is from the Brothers Grimm. And it is the Brothers Grimm's version of Rapunzel.
Yeah.
Let's get into it. There was once a man and a woman who had long in vain wished for a child. At length, the woman hoped that God was about to grant her desire. These people had a little window at the back of their house from which a splendid garden could be seen, which was full of the most beautiful flowers and herbs. It was, however, surrounded by a high wall, and no one dared to go into it because it belonged to an enchantress who had great power and was dreaded by all the world. One day, the woman was standing by this window and looking down into the garden when she saw a bed which was planted with the most beautiful rampion. And it looked so fresh and green that she longed for it. She quite pined away and began to look pale and miserable. Then her husband was alarmed and asked, "What ails you, dear wife?" "Ah," she replied, "if I can't eat some of the rampion which is in the garden behind our house, I shall die." The man, who loved her, thought, "Sooner than let your wife die, bring her some of the rampion yourself. Let it cost what it will." At twilight, he clambered down over the wall into the garden of the enchantress, hastily clutched a handful of rampion and took it to his wife. She at once made herself a salad of it and ate it greedily. It tasted so good to her, so very good, that the next day she longed for it 3 times as much as before. If he was to have any rest, her husband must once more descend into the garden. In the gloom of evening, therefore, he let himself down again. And when he had clambered down the wall, he was terribly afraid, for he saw the enchantress standing before him. "How can you dare," she said with angry look, "descend into my garden and steal my rampion like a thief? You shall suffer for it." "Ah," he said, "let mercy take the place of justice. I only made up my mind to do it out of necessity. My wife saw your rampion from the window and felt such a longing for it that she would have died if she had not got some to eat." Then the enchantress allowed her anger to be softened and said to him, "If the case be as you say, I will allow you to take away with you as much rampion as you will. Only I make one condition. You must give me the child which your wife will bring into the world. It shall be well treated, and I will care for it like a mother." The man, in his terror, consented to everything. And when the woman was brought to bed, the enchantress appeared at once, gave the child the name of Rapunzel, and took it away with her. Rapunzel grew into the most beautiful child under the sun. When she was 12 years old, the enchantress shut her into a tower, which lay in a forest and had neither stairs nor doors. But quite at the top was a little window. When the enchantress wanted to go in, she placed herself beneath it and cried, "Rapunzel, Rapunzel, let down your hair to me." Rapunzel had magnificent long hair, fine as spun gold. And when she heard the voice of the enchantress, she unfastened her braided tresses, wound them round one of the hooks of the window above, and then the hair fell 20 ells down. And the enchantress climbed up by it. After a year or two, it came to pass that the king's son rode through the forest and passed by the tower. Then he heard a song which was so charming that he stood still and listened. This was Rapunzel, who in her solitude passed her time by letting her sweet voice resound. The king's son wanted to climb up to her and looked for the door to the tower, but none was to be found. He rode home, but the singing had so deeply touched his heart that every day he went out into the forest and listened to it. Once when he was thus standing behind a tree, he saw that an enchantress came there, and he heard how she cried, "Rapunzel, Rapunzel, let down your hair to me." Rapunzel had magnificent long hair, fine as spun gold, and when she heard the voice of the enchantress, she unfastened her braided tresses, wound them round one of the hooks in the window above, and then the hair fell 20 ells down. And then the enchantress climbed up by it. You know what? I just had ADHD. Totally fucked up. Then Rapunzel let down the braids of her hair, and the enchantress climbed up to her. "If that is the ladder by which one mounts, I too will try my fortune," said he. And the next day it began to grow dark. He went to the tower and cried, "Rapunzel, Rapunzel, let down your hair to me." Immediately the hair fell down, and the king's son climbed up. At first, Rapunzel was terribly frightened when a man, such as her eyes had never yet beheld, came to her. But the king's son began to talk to her, quite like a friend, and told her that his heart had been stirred, that it had let him have no rest, and he had been forced to see her. Then Rapunzel lost her fear, and when he asked her if she would take him for her husband, and she saw that he was young and handsome, she thought, "He will love me more than old Dame Gothel does." And she said yes, and laid her hand on him in his. She said, "I will willingly go with you, but I do not know how to get down. Bring with you a skein of silk every time that you come, and I will weave a ladder with it. And when that is ready, I will descend, and you will take me on your horse." They agreed that until that time he should come to her every evening. For the old woman came by day. The enchantress remarked nothing of this, until once Rapunzel said to her, "Tell me, Dame Gothel, how it happens that you are so much heavier for me to draw up than the young king's son." "He is with me in a moment." "Ah, you wicked child," cried the enchantress. "What do I hear you say? I thought I had separated you from all the world, and yet you have deceived me." In her anger, she clutched Rapunzel's beautiful tresses, wrapped them twice around her left hand, seized a pair of scissors with the right, and snip, snap, they were cut off, and the lovely braids lay on the ground. And she was so pitiless that she took poor Rapunzel into the desert, where she had to live in great grief and misery. On the same day that she cast out Rapunzel, however, the enchantress fastened the braids of hair, which she had cut off, to the hook of the window. And when the king's son came and cried, "Rapunzel, Rapunzel, let down your hair to me," she let the hair down. The king's son ascended, but instead of finding his dearest Rapunzel, he found the enchantress, who gazed at him with wicked and venomous looks. "Aha," she cried mockingly, "you would fetch your dearest, but the beautiful bird sits no longer singing in the nest. The cat has got it, and will scratch out your eyes as well. Rapunzel is lost to you. You will never see her again." The king's son was so beside himself with pain, and in his despair he leapt from the tower. He escaped with his life, but the thorns into which he fell pierced his eyes. Then he wandered quite blind about the forest. He ate nothing but roots and berries, and did not but lament and weep over the loss of his dearest wife. Thus he roamed about in misery for some years, and at length came to the desert, where Rapunzel, with the twins to which she had given birth, a boy and a girl, lived in wretchedness. He heard a voice, and it seemed so familiar to him that he went towards it. And when he approached, Rapunzel knew him and fell on his neck and wept. 2 of her tears wetted his eyes, and they grew clear again, and he could see with them as before. He led her to his kingdom, where he was joyfully received, and they lived for a long time afterwards, happy and contented. And that is the Brothers Grimm story of Rapunzel.
All right. We hope you all enjoyed this episode and Tony's fucked up story. We'll see you all again.
Well, in all retrospect, that wasn't as fucked up as I had hoped it would be.
Now, I think like the Little Mermaid's Brother Grimm version would be a lot more fucked up. I've heard some snippets, and they're just fucking brutal.
All right. Well, would you like me to tell that story next week?
That's up to you, but I would listen.
All right. So next week, story time, Little Mermaid.
All right, next week. See you guys.
This has been a Nerd Lab Media production. Come join us on our social pages on Facebook and on Discord. We hope to see you there. Thank you.